Hi, I'm Shashank Bhargav, and you're listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. In this episode, we talk about an alleged call center racket which targeted elderly Americans. We also take a quick look at the BJP president's latest statements on the Citizenship Amendment Act. But first, we talk about the TRP scam. The Mumbai police has been investigating a case where they allege that three channels, including the Republic TV, have been involved in a scam which involves the manipulation of TRPs, or television rating points. Through this manipulation, it claims that they have caused losses to advertisers and other news channels. In this segment, we speak to Mohammad Thawar, who reports on crime for the Indian Express, about this case.
So, to understand the Mumbai police investigation into what they're calling the TRP scam, we'll first have to understand how the system works and then later how it was manipulated. So, in India, the advertising it's supposed to be like a 30 to 40,000 crore industry, the television ad industry. So, the way that brands decide about which program they want to advertise on depends upon the TRPs of particular programs, which is television rating points. That is basically to figure out how many people are watching that program. Earlier, it used to be measured by this body called TAM, and later in 2015, the Broadcasters Research Council audience, that is BARC, started counting the TRPs. Now, the way it is done is you obviously take a sample size. So, in the present day and age, there are around over 40,000 homes where you put something called barometers on TV sets. And these houses are supposed to be anonymous. And based on the data of those 44,000 houses, the TRPs are calculated. And based on these TRPs, which basically gives you a measure of popularity of a particular program or a news channel, the advertisers then decide where. Obviously, if you have higher TRPs, you get more money. So this is basically how the system works.
So advertisers' entire understanding of how popular a channel is essentially based on what people are watching on these 40,000 barometers.
Exactly. And that again has now opened up a Pandora's box. We'll get to that later. So now that we know the system, on October 8th, the Mumbai Police Commissioner Parambir Singh held a press conference in which he said that, the TRPs were being manipulated. What he said was that BARC, in order to calculate these TRPs, has outsourced it to this agency called Hansa Research Agency, which is based in Mumbai. Now, employees of Hansa are supposed to go to these houses. Only they would know which houses have these barometers, and then they would measure the TRPs, and then the findings would go to BARC. Now, what the Mumbai police is saying is that some former employees of Hansa, what they started doing is that they started paying particular households to watch particular news channels or particular, even other entertainment channels much more in exchange for monetary benefits. And they were saying that these employees were in turn being paid by these three channels. The channels that the Mumbai police claims was doing that was Republic Channel, this channel called Fakt Marathi, and Box Cinemas. So Mumbai police was saying that these channels were paying former Hansa employees to ask the households, these are called panel homes where you have barometers, to watch more of their channel, which will in turn show a higher TRP for their channels, and hence they will get a higher rate for their advertisements. So this is the way the Mumbai police said that this entire scam was operating. So the first thing is that you should not; these houses should be anonymous. No one should be knowing about it, but that the system was rigged. And so far, the Mumbai police has arrested 6 people, of which 3 are former Hansa employees who were involved in doing this. And they have also arrested Fakt Marathi and Box Cinemas, these the owners of these 2 channels as well. And they have also called in for questioning several, top employees of Republic. They have spoken to the COO. They have recorded their statements. And at this stage, that is where the case stands.
Now, after arresting and summoning these people involved in this matter, what has the Mumbai police found out while interrogating them?
See, there are a couple of things here. Now, you've got to understand that firstly, they arrested these guys, and then they also recorded statements of 5 households that were allegedly accepting money to kind of watch particular channels. Now, based on their statements, what they have found that these households were being paid around, monthly around anywhere between 300 to 500 rupees just to watch particular channels. And what the cops have told us is that in some cases, for example, there were households where, let's say, people did not even know English, but they were, for example, watching a Republic for hours together, which kind of shows some sense of manipulation. But here, an important point is the fact that after the Mumbai police kind of said that they arrested these guys, they wrote to BARC saying that, listen, we have arrested this particular person and these households, we suspect there is something amiss. So have you seen any unusual activity? And the BARC wrote back saying that they have seen, unusual activity wherein a news channel which normally people would watch for 15, 20 minutes is being watched for 3 hours altogether. So what the police is saying is that they also have the backing of the report by BARC, which is in agreement with their findings that there was manipulation and that particular houses were watching particular news channels for much longer.
And what do these channels like Republic TV have to say about these allegations?
When it comes to these channels, Fakt Marathi and Box Cinemas have not put out a statement. When it comes to Republic, Republic has alleged that they are being targeted by the Mumbai Police Commissioner Parambir Singh personally. They are alleging that because they pulled up the Mumbai police when it came to investigations into Sushant Singh Rajput suicide case and the Palghar lynching case, they have alleged that due to their reporting, they are being targeted. The Mumbai police has countered it, and also the Republic is soon after, in fact, the very day that the press conference took place, Republic kind of said that they have got a copy of the FIR, and in that the name of India Today news channel was there, and Republic was not there, which led to a bit of a controversy. But then the next day when we checked, the way it has worked is that when it came to Republic, the Mumbai police is saying that even if you don't believe us, we have the BARC report, and the BARC, the body that does calculate these things, which is an independent body, is itself saying that we have proof against Republic. So they have also written to BARC to check whether any such activity has been found about India Today. And they are saying that once the BARC writes back to them, whether there is unusual activity or not, based on that, they will be able to decide if any other channels are kind of complicit in it. They are suspecting more channels to be complicit in it, but accordingly, they have sent requests for data on these channels to see if there has been any unusual activity. And generally, this is not the first time that such a scam has been out in the open. In fact, industry insiders say that it is an open secret in a sense. Even in the past, there have been FIRs against news channels for trying to fudge data. In that sense, that has now led the BARC to also issue a statement wherein they have suspended giving out ratings of news channels for the next 3 months at least, because they are trying to overhaul their system and see what kind of problems are there to kind of safeguard this. Because like I said, this is not the first time that such an issue has come to the fore. And another thing that has also kind of this entire issue, though not directly linked to it, but that has kind of become a talking point, is whether counting television ratings of what 40,000 households see as as indicative of the population of the country, whether that is indicative of that or not is also another point that has been debated, with some media professionals saying that there has to be an overhaul about the entire system, and maybe more households have to be roped in to kind of get a realistic view of whether particular news channels are actually being watched more or not.
The idea that just 40,000 barometers are representing TV viewership in a country with over 1 billion people has raised concerns in the past as well. To talk about this problem more and to understand the challenges that come with trying to change the system, we talked to Krishan Kaushik, who reports on the media and has written about this problem in the past.
So the issue of alleged manipulation of TRP data is not new. They have been accusations of this for more than a decade now. Around 2010, NDTV had even sued the precursor to BARC, which is called TAM, and they had sued them in the US, stating that this agency was not capturing NDTV's TV viewership accurately. Now, what can be done to make it more robust? Essentially, to keep the panel homes where these meters, which used to be called people meters earlier, now they're called barometers, the panel homes have to be completely secret so that no channel can reach them. That is the basic thing that should be done, which the companies have tried. The second thing is that the panel homes have to be representative of the country's total audience. Earlier, there used to be some 20,000 people meters. Now there are about 40,000 barometers. Numbers become important because once you have larger numbers, then even if one or two panel homes are assumed to be, or they do get infiltrated, it will not affect the data by a wide margin. However, unlike the US, where the size of the TV industry is much larger, because as soon as the number of barometers go up, it also increases the cost of calculation of the TRPs. So a lot of times, broadcasters and advertisers have said that they cannot subscribe to this data if it becomes too expensive for them. And that's also a concern. Third thing is, if you increase the number of panel homes too much, a much larger sample size can also bring in its own inaccuracies. So that's why the panel size has to be representative. And a larger number does not necessarily mean that they're representative. They have to be representative in the size, in terms of quality, essentially getting the wider perspective of the audience correctly. So the calls that have been taken in the past have just been to have a better secrecy for panel homes and increase the number of barometers across the country.
Krishan, there have also been some people who have said that, now that direct-to-home television is a lot more popular, a lot more people have set-top boxes, Dish TVs and Tata Skies, certainly more than 40,000, and that would be a much better way to calculate TRPs. So do you think that could be a more viable alternative?
That might be. There was actually a proposal 2 years ago when Smriti Irani was INB minister. There was a proposal that all the set-top boxes that everybody almost has now across the country, they should have a certain device which can send back the viewership for each and every house. But you have to understand two things over here. One, it raises privacy issues. What I'm watching should not be known to almost any agency. It can create surveillance issues. Second, it is not just about for how long is the channel being watched. It is about who is watching that channel. Just because if, let's assume, my DTH or my set-top box can record whatever I'm watching, and that data can be sent back to the company, whoever is doing the research for that data, it will still not tell the company who is watching that in my household, whether it's me, whether it's a child, whether it's a woman, whether it's a man, whether it's head of the family, and what SEC bracket is the person, what SEC bracket is the household. So then you cannot tell who has watched that. Whenever a household has these devices, barometers or people meters, any person who sits down to watch the TV first has to identify himself or herself through the remote that they have for the barometer, so that it captures who has watched the channel and for how long. That is also a very important aspect of the TRP data.
Also, when it comes to calculating TRPs, do you think news channels face any unique problems in that sense?
So the problem with genres like news, particularly English news, is it is not a genre that is being watched by a lot of people. So when it is a smaller audience, a much smaller number of panel homes will decide the TRP data for that. In that case, when the audience is anyhow a much smaller subset, if you can infiltrate even 10 households, it can fluctuate the data by a wide margin. And these accusations have been there. There were accusations against the channel this year itself. There were accusations against channels 2 years ago as well. So news genre is particularly susceptible, not just news. Basically, all niche genres are more susceptible to fluctuation in data and manipulation because of the small sample size.
Dear listeners, sorry for this interruption, but before we move on to the rest of the show, I just wanted your quick attention. One of the big reasons people say they like this show is because it helps them understand the news better. It provides them with the context they need to see the bigger picture. And there is perhaps no other place that does that better than Indian Express's Explained section. We on 3 Things refer to the section regularly, and it helps us make this show. If you're a regular reader of Indian Express, you know how useful the Explained section can be, especially when you're looking for in-depth analysis by the right experts. You can log on to indianexpress.com/explained and access the coverage 24/7. Explained by Indian Express, where news that matters is explained by experts who know the subject. Now, back to the show. And next we talk about an alleged call center racket involving at least 6 companies in India that targeted elderly Americans for 9 years. The alleged racket was busted by coordination of the US Department of Justice, or DOJ, and the CBI, that is the Central Bureau of Investigation. To talk about this racket, we speak to Ashish Aryan, who reported on the story. Ashish, you've written about this call center racket that the Indian and US investigators have busted. Could you talk about what this racket involved?
So Shashank, this is a racket that the US and Indian authorities claim to have been, tracking since 2011. And this racket basically targeted elderly Americans. And, these elderly people in the US, they were first sent pop-up messages on their computers that, your computer's infected. And when they clicked on it, they were asked to call a toll-free number, which would connect them to a call center in India, which mostly operated from Noida, Gurgaon, Faridabad, Jaipur, and several other places in UP and mostly North India. And then these people would, ask or request those people who they had targeted under their scam that if they could get remote access to their computers. And once they got remote access to the computers, on the pretext of fixing the virus problems, they would ask hundreds of dollars for the services and software, when in reality there would be absolutely no problem in their computers, in the computers of the elderly US people who were targeted. So this was the overall alleged scam that has been going on for the past 9 years, and the CBI got a tip off from the DOJ, and it started tracking these people, and it raided these people, and you know arrested people, recovered some data, and all that has been going on.
Okay, so in the end, what do we know about how many people were involved in this racket?
So while the CBI has not given any details of the people that have been arrested so far under this operation, but they have given the names of at least 6 private companies located in Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon, Faridabad, Jaipur. They have said that when they raided these companies, they recovered details of several bank accounts. There were digital evidences of fraud. There were incriminating documents. There were fixed deposits worth 190 crore, which is a big amount. There was at least 25 lakh rupees in cash, and another 55 lakh rupees worth of gold was recovered from there. So the overall amount, if you consider the fact that this is very small call centers targeting specific people, but since it has been running for the past 9 years, so fixed deposits worth 190 crore, which is a huge amount. So the people who are there, they have not been named so far, but the companies have been named. There are 6 companies that have been named by the CBI officers so far.
And how common are such scams? Are there examples of them in the recent past?
So if we go a little back in history, ever since India started exporting, software and services to Western countries, and when the BPO sector, or the ITES sector as we know it, BPO, BPM sector was in boom, these BPOs and BPMs provided very genuine services to companies which needed those kind of services. But now that BPO sector has been on a wane, people who used to work have taken to this, route of defrauding people by calling them up and saying that, maybe there is some virus in the computer which needs to be corrected, or they would lose all their data. And basically entrapping those people who are not very knowledgeable about what's happening with their machines, or what is going to happen with their data. That is one part. But this is, nothing new. At least twice in 2018 and 2016. In 2018, again, the Department of Justice had sentenced some 24 people, for a similar fraud, which was that these people would call immigrants to the US, and these people would call low-income workers, and they would tell them that, there's a case of IRS against you, and if you don't pay, say, X dollar by this amount, by this date, we'll come and get you. We are sending people to get you. And because the tax enforcement is so strict there, most of the people would panic, and they would do whatever these scamsters would, call them up and ask them to do. So that was one scam. Similarly, in 2016, also about 69 people were, arrested, and they were sentenced. for the frauds in US, and once their sentences will complete, they will be deported back to India. I mean, this is not something new, but this has been going on, and the authorities have always been tracking it, and they have been trying to, stem as much as possible. But there has been success. One can't say that there has not been any success, but there's still a lot of road to cover.
So, considering the fact that these scams have become popular and we've seen them happen a number of times in the past, what is the sort of advice that governments and authorities that are working to stop these scams from happening give to people so that they don't fall prey to such things?
So, if we talk about the Western countries, the DOJ, which is the Department of Justice of the US, it regularly tells people that, the IRS, the Internal Revenue Systems Services, does not work in this way that we call you up and we tell you that, you have this amount of tax that you have not paid, and, we will maybe arrest you if you don't pay it within the next 15 or 20 minutes. So they have regularly been telling people that, this is something we don't ever do. Apart from that, most governments always keep telling that this is not how governments should function, that they will call you up and they will tell you, or even for companies, they will never send you pop-ups saying that your computer might be infected with virus, especially if it is established companies like your Microsoft and the Google and so on and so forth. Because the recent case, these scamsters had used the pretext of being from Microsoft, that we are calling from Microsoft and we have detected that your computer has been infected with virus. So they have been trying, but it's ultimately it's up to the people on how educated they are and how aware they are of what they have been surfing and what they have not been surfing on, what is the actual status of their computers and of even their taxes and so on and so forth.
And in the end, we talk about the BJP president JP Nadda. Nadda, while speaking at a meeting yesterday in West Bengal's Siliguri, asserted that the Citizenship Amendment Act will be soon implemented in the country and cited the ongoing coronavirus pandemic as the reason for its delay. He said, quote, "Due to COVID-19 pandemic, the implementation of CAA got delayed. But as the situation is slowly improving, work has started and rules are now being framed. It will be implemented very soon." Unquote.
सिटीजन्स अमेंडमेंट एक्ट, ये सिटीजन्स अमेंडमेंट एक्ट तो पास हो चुका है. आपको सिटीजन्स अमेंडमेंट एक्ट मिलेगा और मिलना तय है. अभी रूल्स बन रहे हैं. कोरोना के कारण थोड़ी सी उसमें रुकावट आ गई, कोरोना के कारण. लेकिन जैसे जैसे कोरोना हट रहा है वैसे वैसे रूल्स भी तैयार हो रहे हैं और वो बहुत जल्द आपको उसकी सेवा मिलेगी. इसको भी आप ध्यान में रखिएगा और इसको हम पूरा करेंगे.
The contentious legislation was passed by the parliament during the winter session in December last year, leading to widespread protests across the country. The law grants easier citizenship for Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Christians, Parsis and Jains who come to India after facing religious persecution in Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh before 2015. It became controversial largely because it excludes Muslims. Those opposing the CAA said that it discriminates on the basis of religion and violates the constitution. They also allege that the CAA, along with the proposed National Register of Citizens or NRC, is intended to target the Muslim community in the country. Several opposition ruled states had also raised their concern against the CAA and said that they will not implement the new citizenship law. The NDA government, however, asserted that the law had nothing against the citizens of the country. JP Nadda, who was on a day-long visit in West Bengal, also exuded confidence that the BJP will form the next government ahead of the assembly elections that are scheduled to take place in the state next year. Attacking the Mamata Banerjee-led TMC government, Nadda said that the people in Bengal are fed up with the violence and cut-money culture of the government. He also accused the TMC government of indulging in divide and rule politics in the state to serve the political interests of the party, unlike BJP, which he said works for the development of all. You were listening to Three Things by The Indian Express. Today's show was written and produced by me, Shashank Bhargav, and as always was edited and mixed by our producer Joshua Thomas. Before we go, here's another reminder to check out Indian Express's Explain section. You can log on to indianexpress.com/explain and find in-depth analysis by the right experts. It has everything you need to know to understand the news better and see the bigger picture. If you like this show, then you can subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it, share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Audio and write to us at podcast@indianexpress.com.